Welcome in, midweek edition of Racing to Win. That means Happy Valley is our focus on the program this week for an 8-race program coming up at the City Circuit. Joined in the studio, as always, by Paul Lally and Tom Wood. And Tom, unfortunately, no Sha Tin on Sunday, but luckily, Typhoon Koinu is gone.
Yep, it's gone, Mark, and hello to you and to everyone. A lot of rain at Happy Valley again, but the surface so far is good to yielding for racing on Wednesday night. Expected to improve further with no rain. Thought some open-looking races through the card Wednesday night.
On to Paul Lally. Are there jackpots, and what else can we look forward to?
Yeah, no jackpots. All the money was won last week, but as Tom said, quite even field, so might get a few coming out of the meeting. There's two first starters in the meeting. One hasn't raced before, and the other one we have seen racing overseas.
Before we get to this meeting at Happy Valley, there was plenty of simulcast racing on the weekend, boys, despite the fact we had nothing here in Hong Kong. And the focus, Tom, was this race, and Romantic Warrior, his first start since the defeat in the Champions in Chater, and James McDonald rode him. There's been plenty of reaction from Australia after the race, but what did you make of his performance?
I thought it was a really good performance, Mark, considering what happened in the run. You can see he was quite headstrong in the early stages, probably for the best part of 700-800 metres, maybe even further. He didn't really settle overly well. He looked like he was going to chime into it strongly. Probably wasn't really helped around the turn a little bit here either, but I thought there was a lot in the run, Paul, considering he was first up for nearly 5 months, set weights and penalties. That sort of didn't suit him either because he's having to give weight away, and all the stuff that's happened in the meantime, the feed, the CT scanning, going to the races, standing the tie-ups all day, all new things to him. Yeah,
exactly right. And this isn't his grand final. This is the lead-up, isn't it? Look, a lot of people said down there in Australia that he'll come on a lot for the run, seeing him in the paddock and whatnot. And he sort of raced that way as well. So, look, the Cox Plate is the main aim, isn't it? And, look, I think it was definitely a pass mark. I wouldn't be knocking him off that.
No, but there are plenty of people that are doing so.
Yeah.
There are indeed. That's the boys' thoughts, but this is his trainer, Danny Shum's reaction to the fourth in the Turnbull.
James say, don't be panicked. The horse a bit blow. He spoke quite hard, actually. And he's tired at the last 100 metres. He didn't give him a hard time. He said, exactly what we say. It's not 100% fit yet, but this way we'll bring it up on the spot, on the Cox Plate. Yes.
Cox Plate's still the target. You'll think you'll have him where he needs to be by the date of the race.
Yes, I always put the target on the Cox Plate. So we lead a race for him to see the judgment, how he can handle the left turn, how he can handle the Australia Melbourne's weather. Yeah.
And staying on Romantic Warrior, right now we're heading to one of our good friends of the show here on Racing to Win for further reaction out of Melbourne. Edward Sadler, hello to you, and despite the background, you are in Melbourne.
I am. It's been that long since I used the Zoom, Mark, that I've kept the Hong Kong background. So good to be back on Racing to Win and good to be chatting with your good self. I had you on my program last week, Mark, so is a reciprocal deal.
It is indeed. We're here to talk about Romantic Warrior post-race. We spoke about him with you down there pre-race. What's been the wash-up in Australia? They do like to knock an international raider that doesn't maybe perform to expectations first up, don't they?
We're pretty difficult to please, aren't we, the Australians? We like to build up these horses, and then if they don't perform to expectations, we're quick to knock them down. I think most reasonable judges have described his effort on the weekend, Romantic Warrior, as being a pass mark. When you consider all of the issues that he's had coming down here, the fact that it was his first run since his defeat in the Champions in Chater at the end of May. He missed that barrier trial due to the typhoon in Hong Kong prior to leaving. I think he's still acquitted himself pretty well. We know that he's going to improve a great deal from the run. And it wasn't like he was fading away. He was still keeping on well enough to the line. So, yeah, there are a few people who are happy to knock him after his run on Saturday, but I think the more reasonable judges will enough with his effort, pressing on towards the Cox Plate, which we know is going to be his main target in 3 weeks' time.
One of those judges, Ed, has been James McDonald, which leapt to his defence vehemently after the race.
Yeah, he said that he thought he was still pretty good, all things considered, J-Mac, straight after the race. So he's been a constant force, obviously, in this trip down under for Romantic Warrior. It was basically his suggestion for him to run in the Turnbull first up as a lead-up race towards the Cox Plate. And he thought, all things considered, and with the amount of improvement that he's going to take from that run, that he's definitely still going to be a force to be reckoned with, or a decent chance, you would think, in the Cox Plate. And another arrival trainer, really, Michael Kent Jr., who's a talented young horseman here in Australia in partnership with Mick Price, said that he's the horse that he felt coming out of the Turnbull is really going to improve heading towards the Cox Plate. So, number of horses leaping to the defence of Romantic Warrior.
What does he do now, Ed? Because he basically goes from Sha Tin of Flemington to Happy Valley, which is Moonee Valley. In the interim, does he stay out at Werribee, and when is he likely to have his first look at the Valley?
Yes, he does stay at Werribee from what I know and from where he's been earlier this week. And then he'll get a few opportunities. This is one of the great things about the Cox Plate, is that horses do have the opportunity to gallop at Moonee Valley once, twice even before they get to the Cox Plate. They obviously have breakfast with the stars there on the Tuesday morning prior to the Cox Plate. But for international horses or even other connections, other local horses do get the chance. It's quite well known that they can go to the Valley on the Saturday before on Caulfield Cup morning, I should say, to the Valley for familiarisation gallop. But when we spoke about him last week, Mark, you mentioned that on debut he won at Happy Valley from barrier 12 and won comfortably. I know that was a Class 4. He's got a run on the Cox Plate, the Weight for Age Championship of Australasia, and as Mr. Paul Alley will tell you, a lot of good New Zealand horses have won the race too. But he's proven that he can handle a tight track. So I don't think that will be an issue for him over the next couple of weeks. And you'd imagine he'll have a couple of trips there just to get used to the tricky track.
The horse that beat him in Gold Trip, he's no doubt heading towards the Melbourne Cup. Is he any chance of taking him on again in the Cox Plate?
Some chance, but the feeling at the moment seems to be more that he'll head towards the Caulfield Cup on Saturday week. So he might dodge Gold Trip, who was a sensational winner of the Turnbull. That turn of foot that he showed on Saturday was quite devastating. The horses to watch out for as far as Romantic Warrior's likely Cox Plate rivals are concerned, you're going to see them this Saturday. Amelia's Jewel is now the favourite for the Cox Plate after what we saw from Romantic Warrior over the weekend. Romantic Warrior, with the markets here in Australia, is the second pick. Amelia's Jewel is the favourite for the race, but she's no certainty to start in it. She'll run on the two-rack handicap at Caulfield on the weekend, and then connections of the Western Australian Mare have a few decisions to make. Do they chase the money and go for the Golden Eagle, which is a very valuable race in Sydney, open only to 4-year-olds, or do they go for, I guess, the more prestigious race, the race that's been around for longer, and go for the Cox Plate, which is the week earlier than the Golden Eagle? She certainly won't run in both, but the markets say she's the main one to beat. We'll also have Mr. Brightside running in Sydney in the King Charles, and we definitely know that the Hayes boys will be taking him to the Cox Plate after this weekend, all being well, of course.
And then likely on to Hong Kong. Edward, great to have you on the show, and never ever change that backdrop.
I'll be keeping it, Mark. Good to see you as always.
And a big thanks to Edward Sadler. But we need to leave Romantic Warrior right there and move on to Happy Valley on Wednesday night and try and find a winner at the C Circuit. It's 8 turf races on the A course, and we're going to focus on races 3 and 8, Class 3 1650 and Class 3 over the 1200 metres. The third race has a winning dragon with a better draw. Beautyverse coming back in trip. All Beauty is first up, as is Star Contact. Torbian Prince makes his Happy Valley debut. Further down, Comet Splendido has placed 2 from 3 second up, and High Rise Soldier's gone 1,000, 1,200, 1650 in what will be his third run this time in, Tom, and there is the speed map.
It doesn't look to be a lot of pace in this race. Winning Dragon, Star Contact pretty much gets a similar sort of run to what he got last time out, albeit he was in the trail. Torbian Prince there can get into a good spot, and then you've got Ivy League Paul and High Rise Soldier with Comet Splendido, who ran on well from the back last start.
Yeah, so coming up a bit in trip will certainly help him as well. But yeah, I didn't think, as you said, I don't think there was too much pace in the race. And as such, Winning Dragon with Angus Chung aboard from barrier 4, he likes to go forward. He looks sort of the only real leader in the race. I don't think Star Contact likes to lead.
All right, we'll try and break it down a bit more now, Paul. And here is a number of horses out of this race, including the likely leader, Winning Dragon. He had barrier number 10 draws 4 this week. Star Contact tucked away on the inside. Capital Legend covered some ground. Ivy League run 6th and Jumbo Fortune 8th.
Yeah, the two I like in this were Winning Dragon and also Capital Legend. I thought Capital Legend really fought on strongly down the outside. He's drawn barrier 8, so as we see there, he's going to get back, but he shouldn't be too far away. And Winning Dragon, I think, from the front, if he can dictate, then he'll definitely get his opportunity.
One would think start contact with the run he shouldn't be too far away, but certainly agree on Capital Legend. Jumbo Fortune, he'll no doubt be in the market again, but he has been costly so far.
Vincent Ho's our rider in focus this week. Tom, what do you make of those chances for Vincent?
Yeah, like Capital Legend. Happy Days, interesting. He's first up for Jamie Richards off. Not a bad trial, but probably the distance is going to be a little on the sharp side for him, but he has trialled well. Super Eagle actually got quite a way back last time out, but one would think he'll be a bit closer from the draw. Royal Pride's dropping in grade, and don't mind Gallant Waking in that final race either.
Right, so what did you make of those rides, Paul?
Yeah, I agree. I think Gallant Waking, he's definitely in my numbers as well, and Super Eagle likewise. I think they're both really good chances, along with the horse we just talked about, Capital Legend.
All right, good night at the office potentially for Vincent Ho. We move on to Comet Splendido. Tom, you mentioned during the speed map how far he got back last time. This was at Shard 10, and he's notoriously better at Happy Valley.
Yeah, he is. Look at his record at the Valley, a win and a handful of minor placings from his 12 starts. He's done not a lot at Shard 10, but thought there was a bit of merit in this run because he was home in 22.82 behind Blue Marlin, and we know what good form Blue Marlin has been in. So we're just like the way he finished off here, Paul. Barrier 10 certainly dictates they have to go back with him.
Yeah, I agree. And look, he finished fifth in this race, and up to the extra 250 metres will be good. He's also won off a higher rating before. He's won off 69, and he's down to this rating now of 63. So he's very well rated in this race.
Harry Bentley, 2 rides for 2 placings on the horse. Next up, Paul, is Beauty Verse. Well, here he is running 7th last time. He trialled well leading into that race, but he just cannot repeat it apart from that first start in Hong Kong on race day, Kenny.
Yeah, no, I made him the long shot. It was a funny run race, this. It was stop, start and whatnot. Look, I haven't included him because one of the reasons I liked him in this race was because he was fresh, and that's where he had won in the past. So I know he's back 150 metres, but he just didn't do enough for me.
He was quite keen in the early stages. He pulled quite hard, but like I can't have him here. Not on what he's done anyway.
We'll leave that beauty alone. What about this one, Tom? He is first up. This one has also won first up in the past, off a rating of 68 course and distance. He runs off a rating of 67, All Beauty.
Yeah, he interests me a little bit here. He was shaken up a little bit in this trial. He's first up for 119 days. He's dropped 13 pounds of scale, say, coming into this. He's had throat surgery to release an epiglottic entrapment, but did run on late here in the trial, so I don't think he's the worst first up.
No, the trial wasn't too bad at all. As you say, he's dropped that 13 pounds. He was sort of on the cusp for me, but he didn't just quite make it into the end.
So, yes for Tom, no for Paul amongst the selections for All Beauty. He's out. Who's in?
I'm going to go with Capital Legend here. I thought it was a really strong run from him last time. Using that race we saw as the main form race, Winning Dragon from the front, I think he can dictate. I'm going to put a horse called Ivy Legan, which is Douglas White's charge. This horse has been working really well leading into it, and he's drawn nicely in Barrier 5. And we talked about Comet Splendido as well. He goes in there for 4th. So 4, 1, 8 and 9.
Yeah, Capital Legend goes in on top, but like the way he finished off last time out. Might have been a little bit keen early in the run there, but stayed on well behind Rising from Ashes to run 3rd. And he carries the same weight this time round of 122 pounds. All Beauty goes well fresh. He's a winner course and distance, but he has been a little bit hard to catch. Start Contact should get a nice run. He was another one that was a bit keen last time out, and the other one that goes in is Comet Splendida. He should be running on at the end from his draw of 10, Harry Bentley and Danny Shum. 4, 3, 5 and 9.
The boys are in agreement that Vincent Ho and Casper Founds are the men to beat in race number 3. Taking a break here on Racing to Win. We'll come back and have a look at the last right after this. Us 3 run available for that promo, so they had to get those 3 blow-ins to do it for the Gentleman's Bow Tie Race Day coming up at Shard 10 on Sunday. It's after the break, Paul, and we know what that means. Last run reminder.
It is, and we can look at a horse called Shinkansen, who raced here at Happy Valley. This was only his 5th start, first one for the season. You can see he went all the way back to last year in the early stages. And they did get a little bit quicker, but not too much more than standard. So it wasn't like a really quickly run race by any stretch of the imagination. Still last there on the inside. You can see him highlighted there. He did stick to the rails, so a good ride here from DeMilo here. And once he got into the clear, you can see him really stretching out. And then it got all really bad for him at the end here because all these horses were finishing off in a bunch. Couldn't get through at the very end. But just after the post, if you ran it on a little bit more, you'd see he was in front. So a very good run from him.
Here's race 4, number 11, Shinkansen in the last run reminder section of today's program. But on to race number 8. It is a Class 3 over the 1,200 metres, and there's plenty of them resuming here, including Not Usual Star, Oriental Smoke, Gallant Waking, Jolly Ruler is minus the blinkers. He's first up from a bleed. Lightning Bolt, surprise winner on the turf last time, has an extra £7 for it. Sugar Sugar carries an extra £9 for a senior rider. Swift Descend on debut in Hong Kong. Araki Summit wears cheek pieces for the first time. Street Conqueror, class drop last start and was a winner course and distance. And Our Lucky Glory has had 2 trials resuming with the Jamie Richards barn and Matthew Chadwick. Not Usual Star, Tom led up in a recent trial under a hold, ended up running 4th but wasn't asked to do too much.
And he has been able to win off the front as well, even though it was a slowly run race. And there's not a lot of pace in this race again either. Maybe they can roll forward with Araki Summit, Swift Ascend. They've shown a little bit of pace in his starts in Australia. Oriental Smoke, and then you've got Jolly Ruler who's first up, and Lightning Bolt 3 back, who was a winner last time out, Paul.
Yeah, it was one of those interesting ones where you just didn't know, there isn't a clear leader. But I agree with you. I think Araki Summit could be the one that's going to push on if Not Usual Star doesn't want to lead. But just the way they led in that recent trial, I just sort of I leaned that way.
We move from the speed map now to one of the first starters, and he has raced overseas, Swift Descent, and he'll be partnered by Lyle Hewitson. Lyle, newcomer to Hong Kong, Swift Descent. You've ridden in both trials, so you're the best man to ask. What sort of feel has he given you?
Yeah, I've been quite impressed with him from day one when I first started him here at the tracks at Sharton, and gave his first couple of gallops, and then he took that into the trial and performed very well, and I thought he improved from trial 1 to trial 2 as well. So yeah, I think he's a lovely type, and it's always difficult to start in Class 3, but he's obviously got a rating for a reason, and yeah, looking forward to him starting his career.
Do you find it important for the newcomers, be it raced overseas or first start in Hong Kong, to have trialled around Happy Valley before they race there?
Certainly a plus, definitely on the positive side, having gone there. But with him, we had options of either. I think he would have taken to Sharton or there at Happy Valley. So I think it's just the way the program dictated that he would start off his career at Happy Valley this time.
3 starts in Australia. Do you go back and look at them and see how he's raced and what he's done over there?
Not particularly. I try to take him more on face value of what he's shown here. Of course, I've got an idea of what he enjoyed out there, but sort of got to learn a bit about him here, and sort of trying to go with what I've felt so far and what we've discussed with between Dougie and I.
Speaking of Dougie, it's not every day you get the phone call to pick up a ride on a last start Group 1 winner, but your partner Russian Emperor this weekend.
Yeah, during the week before entries came out, I sort of just put my name in the hat, knowing that obviously Huey was going to be committed elsewhere. So yeah, and then day of entries, he got a hold of me, so fortunate to be aboard the horse. Of course, this isn't his target. He always improves after his first run, but he's a multiple Group 1 winner and obviously a class act.
One of the horses that have raced in Hong Kong, Paul, and we start with this one, Sugar Sugar, out of the Informed Casper Found stable. He draws barrier number 9. Hugh Bowman jumps aboard in this race, and he comes up with another wide draw.
He does. So, look, he might just have to go one place further back than he would like, but he finished off really strongly here. We know he's a horse that really likes it here at Happy Valley. He's a 3-time winner over the course and distance, and look, I think he can win this race. He's going well at the moment.
Yeah, last one came off a rating of 60. Still a few points higher than that at the moment, Sugar Sugar. I've definitely got him in the mix. He's got an extra £9 though to carry, which does make it a little tougher.
It does indeed. We move on, Tom, from Sugar Sugar to Gallant Crown, whose best form has been 1,400 metres or 1,650. This was a surprise win by Lightning Bolt because he had plenty of goes on the turf. It was 6 leading into the race. All of a sudden comes to Happy Valley for the first time and ran like it was all weather. Yeah,
15-1 his winning price last time out. I dare say had Purton not have been on board, would have been not quite double that, but would have been a lot bigger than $15 in the market. But it was a good win from him. So they've rolled the dice again because it clearly worked last time, Paul, and I wonder why it sort of took them so long.
Yeah, it took him a while to get to Happy Valley, but he's now 1 for 1 there. So it's just whether he can do it again. He's drawn barrier 1, which I don't think is ideal for him because he is another horse that gets back.
Another last start winner, Paul, is Street Conqueror. He was big odds. He was on the class drop this night, so back into Class 3, which hasn't been his friend so far.
No, so look, I'm happy just to watch him. They went quite quick in this race as well. So it was, he might have been just a little bit flattered the way he finished over the top.
I don't think he's probably going to get the same sort of pace to aim at in this race, where there's only sort of one likely leader maybe on paper here, but was able to pick them up strongly with a big run out wider at 45 to 1. So a long price winner won't get me second time.
Gallant Waking, Tom, always been a nice horse, 3-time course and distance winner. He's his most recent trial running third. Will he get you?
Yeah, he's definitely in. Hasn't won for 357 days, so about this time last year now, he actually won second up last season, didn't win first up last season, ran I think fourth from memory, but look, the trial looked good, seemed to move well here behind Packing Bowl and Denfield. We know Denfield's been able to, but he's also trialled up behind Spirit Express back in September, who's been running well, and trialled up going back all the way to May, Paul, when he was behind Self-Improvement, and he's been racing well. Yeah,
you're right. His win was off 64 as well. So he's been consistent. He's run a few seconds, but he just hasn't been able to get his nose back in front. So he's quite high up in the ratings. I've included him, but not in the win line.
Keen to hear thoughts, Paul, on this horse. Not usual star. Jerry Chow takes a few pounds off for Chris So he gets in with 133. First up, back from the 1650 to the 1200. Only second start at Happy Valley. First-time course and distance. He did lead up in this trial. We saw Lyle Hewitson, what was 3 starts ago, pinch it in front at Sha Tin. The pace of the race might dictate that Chris will direct Jerry to do something similar here.
Yeah, I think so, especially off an inside draw. He's drawn barrier number 4. There doesn't look a likely leader in the race, and this Aoraki Summit, who's only had the one start, did go forward, or Swift Descend, who's a first starter here. They're the ones that we're not really too sure of, because they could both easily lead. But look, I'm going to include them just in case they do that.
No pressure on that. Trolley's first up here, and look good. So if things go to if he gets his own way out in front, he might be tough to run down.
OK, that is a not usual star. Chris So, the winner last week, and has a few runners with chances across the meeting. Super Eagle is one of them, Tom. Now, Jolly Ruler bled last time. He's had 2 trials. They weren't really spectacular, so we've gone to his last morning track work down the back straight on the turf. He has worked on the all-weather since then. Yeah,
so he's first up for 161 days. Blinkers are coming off. I'm happy to watch first up, Paul.
Yeah, I am too. See what he does coming off the back of that bleed. So, yeah, happy to watch.
One we haven't talked about is Aoraki Summit. His Happy Valley trial was quite good, wasn't it?
It wasn't too bad, actually. And he's a horse that could possibly go forward and lead. He did go forward on debut, but he's just drawn 12. That's what put me
Wasn't overly keen on his last trial. I thought he looked a little reluctant on the all-weather, so maybe that was just the surface, but happy to watch.
All right, and there's another one, Paul, that we haven't talked about, and he appears in your selections.
Yeah, that's Oriental Smoke. I put him in just because he's such a well-rated horse at the moment. We can see him there. He's in there for second. I've actually got Sugar on top, though. Do really like Sugar in this contest. Oriental Smoke for second. He's won off for 83 rating. He's down to 77, and he should get a nice trail from barrier 5. So he's a horse that's won fresh up in the past. Gallant Waking and Not Usual Star we talked about. So ended up with 7, 2, 3 and 1.
I'll go with the first starter here. It's not going to be easy from barrier number 10 for Swift Ascend in this race, but I think they had a decent sort of opinion of this horse when he was over in Australia with Kieran Maher and David Eustace. I think he's trolled up okay. He's had a look around to Happy Valley, and he's been gelded since he's been here as well, Swift Ascend. So he's on top from Gallant Waking. Sugar has that extra weight to carry, and Lightning Bolt to last start winner. So 8, 3, 7 and 5.
And a reminder, while we only preview 2 shows here on Racing to Win, you can see a race-by-race preview on the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, hkjc.com. Click on audio and video for race-by-race analysis, including the race which features your best bet, Paul.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a horse called Cosmo Navigator. He pulled up lame at the back end of last season. They took him to Chung Fa, gave him plenty of time. They went really quick in this race, and he really stayed on nicely for third. You can see it on the inside there as well. You know, the pace had been... He hadn't run for a long time, so condition was just about to give in. Galvanic, who comes to beat him there, was an odds-on favourite, and you can see him really fighting hard there. They both got slingshotted late because of the way the pace was, but I thought it was a really good run from him, so he's going to make him I'll make him the best. Long shot Red Hair King. Now he comes to Happy Valley for the first time. He steps up to 1650 for the first time as well. He's by So You Think, so you'd think that's going to really suit him, and he puts himself on the pace. And we'll do a play. G1 Excellence over 20 to 1 at the moment. King Excellente and King Invincible, who's coming off the back of throat surgery and a good trial. A QP there, 3, 4, 7 in race 5.
Best of Me comes up in race number 4 with number 11, Shinkansen, who definitely showed improvement last time out and actually trialled well prior to his first up run of the season. Douglas White, Keegan DeMello. So with a bit of luck, I think he can go close. Shinkansen, race at number 4, horse 11. Swift Ascend, another runner for Douglas White, this one with Lyle Hewitson. We heard from Lyle before. Now, this is his trial at Happy Valley here. You can see he was a little bit pushed here, sort of coming down to the last 200 metres, but he was able to respond quite nicely over the final stages, and he also has trialled on the all-weather at Shartin. So was making ground there at the end at Swift Ascend, who was a winner in Australia prior to arriving from his 3 starts, and we'll go in the play with him around Sugar Sugar and also Gallant Waking.
As we saw back in race number 3 as the best bet, Capital Legend Vincent Ho, Casper founds the combination. A repeat of that previous performance would see him almost winning race number 3, so we'll make him the best race 3, number 4. The long shot will go early, Multimore. Now, Theta Hedge has pace in that first race, as does the 2-horse, which is Diamond Soars. Just hoping Multimore, with the draw of 5, can get there in front of them. So it's his favourite course and distance. And the play, race 3, QQP 1, Winning Dragon, 4, Capital Legend, and 9, Comet Splendido, 1, 4 and 9. That has been racing to win for Happy Valley on Wednesday night. Looking forward after that, the diary appears on screen. We're at the Shartin track for the trophy on Sunday at Group 2. Trackside live from 12:30, and then Longines Cup night on the 18th of October. Earlier start with 9 races, 6:15. But plenty of racing upcoming, Tom, and there's some big bangers appearing on the weekend.
Yeah, can't wait, Mark, and should be a good meeting, Paul. Looks like it's going to be undoubtedly the meeting of the season. Get your bow tie ready.
Yeah, bow ties on, Ernest and Beauty Eternal. See if we can give John Size his first win of the season.
We will find out on the weekend, but we'll see you for the first at Happy Valley at 7:15 on Wednesday night.